Gormagat Lascon Corla agus Gormagat Era. Tois gom go will me ag kind Mariaola and Start Galéir agus sudden legislation show a bawalam couple of fuckle raw Mariaola mar Dáil counter Féin come We're dealing with the entire state here. I just want to pick up on one or two aspects of what Deputy Kenny said, and it's good to see, Minister, that the courts around the country have opened up in their own district court areas, and I hope that this will continue and we can learn from what has happened during COVID to particularly address the family law situation and maybe use the Zoom and those kind of meetings so that we can get through the long lists that have developed over the past while. But in relation to this legislation, I am was somewhat concerned in relation to some of the aspects of it, but having spoken to some vintners over the last few weeks, they seem to be in favour because they have been calling for measures to be put in place so that the very small amount of rogue publicans can be dealt with, or licence holders can be dealt with, so that they who have been in a limbo type situation, particularly since the 10th of August did not happen for them, that they can move forward and be taken out of limbo so that their businesses can reopen. In relation to my own county, there are 6,000 jobs, which is a very significant amount in the pub trade themselves. And having spoken to some of them, while they are very concerned of the amendments to the wage subsidy scheme, I was reminded in speaking to them that not only do their pubs sometimes have mortgages, but one man told me that there are 3 members of his family and they all have mortgages and they are reliant on the business reopening. And the longer this situation goes on without them being able to reopen, there's a risk that their staff might not return, and there is a serious risk that some of particularly the smaller pubs, will not reopen at all. So many pubs have been able to adapt to the situation that has gone in the last few weeks. They have serving food when they've never served food before, but other pubs are either not capable of or not willing to reopen in a situation where they have to charge a customer €9 plus the price of a pint. Now, they do accept that there has been poor management by some licence holders, but the vast majority, and in some of the bars that I have been in over the last few weeks, I was in the Bridge Bar in Portmagee and in Mike the Pies in the Stole, there was very stringent adherence to all the regulations as regards contact tracing regulations, hand sanitising, etc. They seem to be complying with them to the letter of the law, because these businesses are already highly regulated. They're used to dealing with having a full knowledge of the legislation and dealing with all of the regulations, and more so with this. They're subject also to their licences being renewed every September. There's the guards, if they feel that they're not running an unruly house, or they can object in September, and they're always subject to that. They are not going to be reckless in their behaviour, and they have to get a date on the door, and hopefully this legislation will allow them to move forward. Now, in relation to I mentioned some of the behaviour on the streets mostly. There's already public order legislation in place. And in relation to what happened in, some people may have seen it in Killarney last weekend, public order legislation, which is already there, can deal with happenings like that on the street. And Section 8 of the Public Order Act is probably the widest power that any guard has, similar to this legislation, where a warning is given to people who are loitering on the street to move on. That legislation is there, and I think that the vast majority of publicans who are doing their best, having reopened, are being unfairly targeted by something which is really a public order incident. It refers tangentially to a situation which has happened in Killarney in the 12 months coming up to COVID. I'm asking the Minister to ensure that more guards are made available for the very busy Saturday nights which I have in Killarney. There's people coming on the buses from West Limerick, all over West and North Cork, and all over the County Kerry. Hundreds of people coming into the town to enjoy what Killarney has to offer, and they're usually, if there's another incident like there was on Saturday night, guards are getting stretched, and I'd ask the Minister to address that and give some more resources so that people can continue to enjoy what Killarney has to offer. So what I'm saying is there must also be consistency in the messaging coming from the government. It seems in dealing with the COVID, that there's massive inconsistency around. It seems ridiculous to me that 500 people can attend a football match in Auchnacoy or in Crossmaglen, whereas in the Kerry County Championship semi-finals, which are coming up, my own players from my own club will be playing for St Brendan's, and nobody, not even family members, will be able to attend that senior game. We have asked, and I echo the comments of the GAA president, asking NEFIT to reveal the 50-odd cases which are related to sporting. We need more clarity on where he obtained those figures and how they obtained. Vagueness isn't helping anybody in this situation. So what I'm asking the Minister in relation to this legislation is, let's move on, let's get a date in the door for these publicans. We're going to be living with this virus for a long time to come, and we're going to have to work and be innovative in ways around it. Publicans, I think, are ready, willing and able to do that, and we can open up the country and start working towards that. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy.